Gentlemen, welcome to a space where legends are forged and rules are rewritten. Today, we're diving deep into something that's bound to make you see the world and yourself differently. 10 ways the outside world views and judges Sigmas to be. Sigmas, as you know, are rare breeds. They don't follow the crowd, they don't seek validation, and they don't live by anyone else's rules. Naturally, the outside world has a lot to say about them. Some of it flattering, and some, well, not so much. But here's the thing. Being misunderstood is often the price of greatness. Now, before we get into it, let's do a quick roll call. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and join this unstoppable community of thinkers, movers, and doers. Together, we're building a tribe that thrives on authenticity and impact. Ready? Let's dive in. Number 1, the lone wolf stereotype. The world loves to label Sigmas as lone wolves. Why? Because they walk alone and seem perfectly content doing so. But here's the kicker. This isn't loneliness, it's deliberate solitude. Sigmas know the power of solitude for self-reflection, creativity, and growth. Take Henry David Thoreau, who wrote Walden, a masterpiece inspired by his time alone in nature. He wasn't avoiding people, he was seeking clarity. Similarly, Sigmas retreat not because they dislike people, but because they value quality over quantity in their relationships. Think about Steve Jobs. Known for his moments of deep introspection, Jobs often stepped away from the noise to develop groundbreaking ideas. The outside world saw a loner, but in reality, it was focus and purpose at work. Number 2, too cool for rules. When the world sees someone who doesn't conform, they often label them as a rebel. Sigmas are no exception. But here's the truth. Sigmas don't reject rules out of spite. They do it out of necessity. They understand that innovation often requires breaking free from outdated norms. For example, Elon Musk, a man who redefined industries, doesn't follow conventional business practices. He's been called reckless and unorthodox, but the results speak for themselves. Sigmas like Musk see rules as starting points, not finish lines. As psychologist Adam Grant argues in Originals, how nonconformists move the world, true changemakers challenge the status quo. Sigmas live by this principle, and while the world might judge them, they're the ones pushing humanity forward. Number 3, emotionless and cold. Sigmas often get judged as being emotionless. The truth? Their emotions run deep, but they don't wear them on their sleeves. This stoicism is often misinterpreted as coldness, but it's actually a sign of emotional intelligence. As Daniel Goleman explains in Emotional Intelligence, controlling emotions and responding calmly under pressure are hallmarks of great leaders. Think of Clint Eastwood's iconic characters, the strong, silent types who say little but feel deeply. That's the Sigma vibe, calculated, composed, and in control. Number 4, the quiet ones are dangerous. Watch out for the quiet ones, they say. And while it's true that Sigmas tend to be reserved, equating quietness with danger is a misunderstanding. Sigmas use silence as a tool. It's how they observe, analyze, and strategize. In the 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene emphasizes the value of saying less than necessary. Sigmas embody this principle, letting their actions speak louder than words. Bruce Lee once said, "The successful warrior is the average man, with laser-like focus." Sigmas, with their quiet intensity, often leave people guessing, and that's a power move in itself. Number 5, unapproachable and aloof. The world often mistakes Sigma's selective socializing for arrogance. But here's the truth. Sigmas aren't aloof, they're discerning. They prefer meaningful connections over shallow interactions. In a world obsessed with social validation, Sigmas are the ones who remind us that depth matters more than breadth. Take J.D. Salinger, the reclusive author of The Catcher in the Rye. Salinger avoided the spotlight, not because he was arrogant, but because he valued his privacy. Similarly, Sigmas guard their energy and invest it wisely. Number 6, mysterious and intriguing. Mystery is the secret of attraction, said Federico Fellini, and Sigmas have this down to an art. The world finds them mysterious because they don't overshare or seek attention. This mystique often leads to fascination and judgment. People project their own narratives onto sigmas, seeing them as enigmas. But sigmas aren't trying to be mysterious. They're just authentic. Think of Keanu Reeves, who maintains a low-key public persona despite being a global star. His mysterious aura only adds to his appeal, much like sigmas in everyday life. Number 7. Rebels without a cause? Oh, they have one. Gentlemen, ever heard someone call a sigma a rebel without a cause? What they don't realize is this. Sigmas are rebels with a cause, and a darn good one. They don't rebel for the sake of drama or to get a rise out of people. No, sigmas challenge the status quo because they see a bigger picture that others miss. Their rebellion is rooted in purpose, not pettiness. Take the likes of Nikola Tesla, the unsung hero of modern electricity. While everyone was swooning over Edison, Tesla was busy creating revolutionary technology. He wasn't rebelling against the mainstream just to be edgy. He was pursuing a vision of wireless power that was far ahead of its time. Author Malcolm Gladwell, in his book David and Goliath, Underdogs, Misfits, and the Art of Battling Giants, explains how unconventional thinkers often face resistance before their ideas are accepted. Gladwell calls this the advantage of disadvantage. Sigmas, much like Tesla, thrive on this principle. Now, let's not confuse rebellion with chaos. Sigmas don't run around flipping tables and shouting, "Down with the system." They're more like quiet disruptors who drop truth bombs that make the room fall silent. Picture a Sigma in a meeting, calmly saying, "Why don't we do it differently?" And everyone else suddenly realizing they've been doing it wrong for years. That's Sigma rebellion, subtle, strategic, and oh so effective. Number 8. Overly independent? More like radically self-reliant. The world often accuses Sigmas of being too independent, as if that's some kind of character flaw. But let's get one thing straight. There's no such thing as too much independence. It's called self-reliance, and it's a superpower. Sigmas live by the creed of Ralph Waldo Emerson, who famously wrote in Self-Reliance, "Trust thyself." Every heart vibrates to that iron string. They're not waiting for a lifeboat. They're out there building their own ship, complete with a Wi-Fi router and snacks for the journey. Take the fictional character Jason Bourne. He doesn't wait for backup, and he certainly doesn't need anyone holding his hand. He assesses the situation, adapts, and acts, all on his own terms. That's the Sigma way. Independence with a dash of genius. But here's the thing most people miss. Sigmas aren't anti-help. They're just doing it right. If they delegate or accept assistance, it's because they've weighed every angle and decided it's the most efficient move. So, when the world calls them too independent, they just smirk and keep thriving. Because let's face it, most of the critics wouldn't last a day without a Wi-Fi signal or their mom's lasagna. Number 9. Unpredictable and unreliable? Try unstoppable. Sigmas are often accused of being unpredictable, like a cat that suddenly decides your keyboard is its new bed. But what the world calls unpredictability, Sigmas call adaptability. Sigmas are like water, flexible, flowing, and capable of carving through mountains over time. Sun Tzu, in The Art of War, wrote, "Be extremely subtle, even to the point of formlessness. Be extremely mysterious, even to the point of soundlessness." Sigmas take this advice to heart. They're not unpredictable in a chaotic sense. They're unpredictable in a strategic sense. Imagine a chessboard. Most people play as though they're following a script. Sigmas, on the other hand, play 3 moves ahead. They're the kind of people who'll plan a surprise party for you while you're still debating whether to order pizza or sushi. Their unpredictability isn't about being unreliable. It's about staying steps ahead of the game. So, when the world complains that Sigmas are hard to pin down, they're actually admitting we can't figure them out, and it's frustrating. Well, of course it is. Trying to predict a Sigma is like trying to predict the plot twist in a Christopher Nolan movie. Good luck with that. Number 10. Unsung leaders. Leading without the spotlight. Let's clear up one of the biggest misconceptions about Sigmas. Just because they're not loud doesn't mean they're not leaders. Sigmas are the kind of leaders who don't need a stage or a megaphone to make an impact. They lead by example, quietly but powerfully. Simon Sinek, in his book Leaders Eat Last, argues that true leadership is about serving others, not seeking personal glory. Sigmas embody this principle effortlessly. They don't crave the limelight because their focus is on results, not recognition. Think about Mahatma Gandhi, a man who led an entire nation with his quiet determination. He didn't shout commands. He inspired action through his unwavering principles. That's the Sigma blueprint. Lead not by authority, but by authenticity. Here's where the humor kicks in. Picture this. While the alpha leader is busy barking orders and taking selfies with the team, the Sigma is the one quietly solving the crisis in the background. By the time the alpha finishes their motivational speech, the Sigma has already fixed the problem, written the report, and gone home to read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Sigmas don't seek titles, they create impact. And while the world might call them unsung, those who truly understand them know that their influence is as profound as it is understated. Gentlemen, the world might judge you in 100 different ways, but here's the truth. None of it matters. What matters is how you see yourself. If you've resonated with this journey through the 10 ways the outside world views Sigmas, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Let's keep building this tribe of independent thinkers and doers. Having said this, stay legendary, gentlemen, and keep walking your unique path.